Top story at 10 o'clock is this one. The Hawks have confirmed that the head of the Jesus Dominion International Church, Timothy Omotoso, will hand himself over to the police in Port Elizabeth today. The unit has been looking for him since an SABC Special Assignment expose on allegations of rape of young women against him. Omotoso is a Nigerian national and he's been in hiding since. The Hawks have denied bungling the arrest of the renowned self-styled prophet. The unit was due to arrest him at an Easter crusade in Bloemfontein last week, but allegedly arrived after he had left. Girls as young as 14 have accused Omotoso of luring them to his Umhlanga home to molest them. He allegedly molested more than 30 young girls on the pretext of rescuing them from drugs. Now, for more on the story, let's go to our reporter, Jay Lee Polzer. She is in Port Elizabeth. A very good morning to you, Jay. Just give us a quick idea. What's the latest with regards to Tim Omotoso today?
Good morning, Eben. That's quite right. We are crossing to you live from the Hawks compound here in Port Elizabeth that is neatly tucked away in the suburban areas. And it is here where the Nigerian pastor, Tim Omotoso, will be arrested. Now, there has been some confusion as to what time that arrest will be taking place. He was expected to hand himself over at 2 o'clock this afternoon, but my source tells me that there has been a delay in his flight. So he will only be arriving later this afternoon. He will be handing himself over to the Hawks. He's accompanied by his lawyer and he will be met by the lawyers here in Port Elizabeth as well. Now, many of you are wondering why travel all the way from Durban to hand yourself over to the Hawks in PE. Well, one of the victims of the congregation, the Jesus Dominion, has come forward and laid a official charge, and that is why he's being flown to Port Elizabeth this afternoon, and he will be giving himself over to the Hawks.
Is that the only rape case that's been opened at this point, or are there more? Are we expecting more?
Well, even I suppose we are expecting more people to come forward. I mean, it has been quite a delicate and sensitive case, you know, since the flighting of that special assignment viewing. There has been now this official charge that has been laid, and I suppose more people will come forward and lay more official charges. But, you know, looking at the congregation itself, I was there this morning at the Jesus Dominion, and it was closed. We were told that there would be a special congregation where he would have been, also there. Speaking to the members of his church. However, he was not present and the church was closed this morning. But I can tell you the church is divided. There are those people who really do believe that Tim Omotoso is a spiritual man. They believe that he is a prophet, that he could never do these heinous crimes, and that this is really a spiritual attack on the prophet. So the church is divided. There are those who firmly believe in his innocence, but there are also those who are very upset about these new revelations that have come to the fore.
Chadley, just tell us quickly, recap for us the allegations against him. It's around 30 young women that are accusing him of illicit behavior, if one can call it that.
Yes, as we know, there are two churches, the Jesus Dominion, one in Port Elizabeth and one in Durban. And there have been 30 of those victims coming to the fore, you know, giving their relaying and horrific tales, what happened to them, what Tim Omotoso did to them, how he lured them to his compound in Umhlanga. Many of the trips that he would take with young ladies to China, all over the world. And he would tell the congregation that he's choosing these specific young girls because they have been blessed. And those young ladies subsequently fell victim to Tim Omotoso. It was also being told, we saw in special assignment broadcast that, you know, those victims, some of them, many as 14, have only started speaking out now later on in life. So that has been years ago. But, you know, a source close to Mr. Tim Omotoso has said that this is just a spiritual attack. These are not true. These allegations are unfounded, that many of these young girls, are only coming out because he was quite a leader in the church. He reprimanded many of the youngsters, kept them out of, dealing in drugs, kept them off the streets. And this is really just an attack on a man, a good man, who they believe really helped the youngsters. And there were also stories, or rather my source told me there were stories of youngsters also drinking, and smoking. And he would speak to them, telling them that, stay away from drugs, turn your life around. And these are it's just sour grapes that have come to the fore. Those youngsters are just taking a backlash at the prophet.
Yeah.
But like I said, these are the tales that many have come forward and told. I suppose, and I presume that many more people will come forward and tell their tales, and hopefully also lay a charge, but that is still yet to be seen.
Chadley, before I let you go, of course, this issue has been in the news, and the Hawks have botched an arrest at an Easter crusade in Bloemfontein. What are the Hawks telling you about this missed arrest that happened in the Free State?
Yes, well, I've been in contact with the Hawks, and they have told me that the arrest will be made today. They steered clear from the whole Bloemfontein fiasco that happened, but they did tell me that he will definitely be handing himself over today. They are in talks with the lawyer, so it really is just a process of him coming to this compound just behind me and giving himself over. And then he'll go into questioning. I suppose now that a charge has been laid, he will be charged. And we have yet to see if he will apply for a bail application.
Chadley, thank you very much for joining us there live from Port Elizabeth outside the Hawks compound there, bringing us the very latest, of course, on Timothy Omotoso. He's expected to be arrested or hand himself over at around 2 o'clock this afternoon. Of course, more than 30 allegations at this stage of rape against him and other sexual offences. I can tell you that on Monday we will look at, charismatic churches and Timothy Omotoso in depth on the Newsroom show. We'll talk to the CRL and also look at various other cases in this space, because it's something, that's becoming part of the fabric of our society. Simple thing that, people are being abused by their pastors. And we'll look at that in depth.